We didn't start the way we want, but I think it's part of the game. We have to react, and we lost 4 points in the first 2 games, but it can happen. We can't change the past, so that's why we have to focus on the next game.
With the standards that you set and the ambition you have, can those draws feel like defeats a little bit?
Yeah, it does for everybody, not just myself, but I think for everybody that we can feel that like we can't really lose a point that early.
Does that add pressure to what is already a huge game against Manchester United?
Manchester United is always a special game for the city, for the fans, for everyone around the world, because maybe the biggest 2 teams in England, I mean history-wise. I think it's a special game for everybody.
I bet with the game that you had there last season, you can't wait to return, can you, on Monday?
Well, I think I don't want to put more oil in the fire, but I think they are so excited for that game. We're also so excited for that game. So let's see what's going to happen.
When you look back, what are the first memories that come to mind, the first sights and sounds of that day?
One thing comes to my mind all the time, like when I scored a hat-trick, and I think I had another chance after. I was like so angry, and I looked at the manager. I was like, stay calm, you're gonna score again, it's fine. And I just felt like I want to score again and again. It's not just because of United, just this is who I am. I always want to score and have a team to get points. But I think I remember that all the time because his face was like laughing at my face, like, stay calm. He just scored 3 goals. But that's the moment I can remember the most.
You're 1 goal behind Steven Gerrard's Premier League record. You smiled there like you knew about that.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I knew about it.
How motivated are you by those kind of accolades? Is that something you really think about when you're on the pitch?
No, not on the pitch, but
Right.
outside, yeah. I think about it. I want to break that record. I want to be like above everybody here, and it was in the club, with all respect for sure, but they were a legend here. But I want to be the highest top scorer for Liverpool in the Premier League, that's for sure. It's clear in my mind. I'm gonna do it hopefully soon. Yeah.
So you're aware then that you are 9 behind Robbie Fowler as well?
Yeah. Yeah, he's 128.
Did that play a part in you signing the contract extension?
No, I knew before, even if I didn't renew, I would break it this season because I think it's like 10 goals. So the way I look at myself, yeah, I'm going to break it, hopefully, yeah.
Single-minded Mo Salah, of course he's aware. There we go in terms of the most Liverpool goals in the Premier League, 119, 9 off, equaling Robbie Fowler. 1 more tonight, he goes level with Steven Gerrard. I should also point out he's 1 ahead of Michael Owen, because that still gets under his skin to this day.
A lot.
But his numbers are incredible.
Yes, they are.
And it's that hunger and single-mindedness he's talking about there. He knows exactly what records are in.
Yeah, he knows what to do. He knows what goals he needs to score. I think if you spoke to him last year, he understood what he had to do in the Liverpool shirt. He did that. He had a really good season yet again. And, you know, all Liverpool fans hope and pray that he stays fit, and he does exactly the same. He doesn't look as if he's going to slow down and stop. He still looks as excited. He still started the season really hungry. He won't take part in the World Cup, which will probably help him. So that quest for more and more goals is brilliant.
9 goals against United as well, Paul, back where he got a hat-trick last season. 1 more again tonight. He's level with Steven Gerrard on that run.
Yeah, I mean, he's a phenomenal player, isn't he? You know, and you go back to when he first came to Liverpool, you know, he did it week in and week out, you know. Honestly, his intensity to make these runs, he plays more like an inside centre-forward. You know, he's not an out-and-out winger. He likes to come in the mix with Marnie. I think he'll be a big miss Marnie. But when you're mixing with people like Steven Gerrard and Michael Owen and Robbie Fowler, you know, great players, it just shows how important it was for Liverpool to keep him at the club, because I think without him they would have struggled.
Yeah, these types of players win your leagues. You talk about midfield, defence. The hardest thing in the game to do is your forward players scoring goals, and you know, they've had 2 or 3 who are scoring 20, 25 goals each season. But he's the main catalyst, scores all types of goals, great finisher, and you know, a big player for Liverpool.
And he's back on the ground, as I say, where he got that hat-trick last season. When we come back, we will... Well, as I say, he's got the armband tonight. Much discussion about Bruno Fernandes, Paul, at the moment. When you just look at his statistics, particularly when Ronaldo wasn't there and when he has come back to the club. 29 goals in 54 before Ronaldo came back, just 7 in 35 since. More assists as well, more shots. Do we read anything into that or not?
I don't really know, Steve. It's hard to know when you're not around the place what the relationship is, I suppose.
Big drop off in them.
There's been a massive drop off for him from last season, not from last season, from the season before. He's brilliant. His goals were fantastic. I know there's a lot of penalties involved in that, but for some reason with Cristiano, it hasn't really clicked. I'm glad he's captain. Actually, I think a lot of people have said he is captain material, and I think he needs to coach these young players through it. I think it's a big night for him tonight. So he's got three players ahead of him in Rashford, Sancho and Elanga. Elanga especially, a young player. They need telling where to go. They need instructions around them. They need what types of run to make. He almost has to be a coach on the pitch tonight. And if I was him, I'd love to be playing with that type of pace up front from a midfield player's point of view. Just pinging the ball in behind them, but he's got to make sure these players know what is expected of them.
Where are you with Bruno Fernandes?
Listen, I'm kind of with Scholesy. You know, I think when he first came into to Old Trafford, I think he was unbelievable. His stats show that. And I think sometimes he was the main man. You know, all the adulation was towards him. All of a sudden, Ronaldo comes in and it's like he's had to take a back seat.
Yeah.
You know, and I think maybe he's lost a bit of confidence from that, and it shows in his performances. I don't think he's been great since the first year that when he came. Now he's got an opportunity. Ronaldo's not playing. You know, he's got to show the world that we don't need Ronaldo in a perverse type of way. But I think it will look like sometimes, you know, we look at Jack Grealish, you know, when he was at Aston Villa, he was the big fish. And he goes to Manchester City where it's full of stars and top players, and it's affected his game. And I think that's been the case with Bruno Fernandes. But, you know, he's a captain today. It's a great opportunity for him. You know,
just has to do it tonight, doesn't it? He started the game, didn't he, against Brighton? He struggled. Ronaldo had to come on at half-time. Nothing materialised, but that was an opportunity for him to start the season well. He struggled last week with Ronaldo, of course, and tonight he's the main man. He's got the captain's armband. He has to give the people in front of him, the young lads who've had a lot of criticism recently, he has to give them a lot of confidence. And he has to be the elder statesman telling them what to do. He can't shout and scream and moan at them because that's not going to help them. He just has to nurse them through this game. Ronaldo's on the bench. He's the main man. He's got the captain's armband. There's no Maguire. He has to lead the Manchester United performance tonight.
As you say, there is no Maguire. So Rafael Varane, who's actually the last Manchester United player to score a Premier League goal nearly 6.5 hours ago, starts tonight. Now, when you look at Rafael Varane's career statistics, absolutely fantastic. When you look at his statistics at Manchester United, he's been unavailable for almost 30% of the Premier League games. 12, he hasn't been available, Rafael Varane. But when you look at the statistics when he's played, Paul, 20 with, they've only lost 4. 20 without, they've lost 10. They've conceded twice as many goals without Varane as well and kept less clean sheets. We understand he's had a strict fitness programme, nutritionist to try and get him on the pitch for a number of games. Will that make a difference?
I hope so. You'd like to think so. He's an unbelievable player. He's been at Real Madrid. He's won trophies with them, many Champions Leagues, the World Cup with France, and it has been a disappointment in coming in because you're thinking him next to Maguire. No, is there any better partnership than that now? We know Harry's lost his form, and they haven't been able to form a partnership. You think down the years when Inter was playing at Bruce Palace to Stan Ferdinand, when I was playing Ferdinand and Vidic, they've never really been able to create a partnership between any of them because, unfortunately, he's picked up many injuries, and you know maybe that's why Real Madrid got rid of him.
No, listen, I think he's a world-class player. But I think when you come to this situation, you're spending this amount of money and wages, you know, he needs to be playing week in and week out. And it's funny you mentioned about his diet. And I know what Macca was like in Spain, but when I was in Italy, you know, the food that we had, you know, was unbelievable. And I felt so much fitter by eating the food that I had, you know, in Italy. Whether it's a change of culture and coming to it, I'm not sure it's the case. But they need him on the pitch week in and week out.
Food in Manchester's all right, you know. It's not bad.
Didn't the fan match only eat fish and chips anyway? Pie and chips.
But it's so important now because what he is another leader. He's another voice, and we always mention this word, characters, leadership. Scholes said they've got a young team, they need coaching and they need leading.
It doesn't seem that type of character to me, though. He doesn't seem like a leader.
No.
I don't know, like
but he leads by example. It's like Beckham was.
Of course he should, yeah. It doesn't seem that type
No,
of
he's not a vocal.
type,
He's not a
really.
vocal
Yeah.
person. He had Sergio Ramos, who was the leader in the team, and of course he had Cristiano ahead of him, who was another leader. Right through the middle of the park, they had leaders. But as the boys said, he needs to stay fit. He needs to have a good season, and then you'll see the best of him. It's disappointing when players come from, well, particularly if we're talking about Rafa from Real Madrid and then he gets injured. You know, the last thing you want to see is Casemiro, the new sign, to come and get injured. You want him to see him play and showcase what he's good at, because they've been exceptional players. You don't want to see a drop-off just because they're getting old and they've come to a new team. You want to see them fit and well. And if he is fit and well, he should start. As Scholes said, if he can build a partnership, I think that's the most important thing. If he can build a partnership, he's certainly got the quality to do it again.
It'd be much better if he was coming into a settled team, into a settled partner next to him. But again, he's playing with a brand new player.
Let's talk about
his partner, because there's an awful lot being spoken about Lautaro Martinez, who was taken off at half-time against Brentford, and the fact that he's 5'9". So where are you three on this?
I'm a no straight away.
Yeah.
Oh, are you?
Yes, a centre half.
A few years ago that he's got a good example to follow, I'm sure.
Hard one. Hard one.
Absolutely. In terms of the other changes in the team as well, it's not just Harry who's on the bench. Freddie's there, Luke Shaw, but also Cristiano Ronaldo. That's another headline decision for Ten Hag, isn't it?
That will definitely be a headline, I think. And of course, if Man United are not managing to win this game, that's going to be the headline. But we have to take into account that Cristiano didn't have a pre-season, and it doesn't matter how fit you are and who you are. If you don't have a pre-season where you do all the basic training, but also have the games, you don't have that sharpness.
Do you think it is that, or do you think there's more to it?
It's got to be. I mean, if you scored 25 goals last season, you're not over the summer you become a bad player. And in all fairness, no one has really looked sharp. I mean, Fred is one player that hasn't played. He's not playing today, and if anyone has looked sharp and up and ready for it, he has been the player. Unfortunately for him, it's the system doesn't really work for him at the moment. But he's the one player that I always look to with the commitment that I expect from every Man United player. He will work hard. He will chase. He will do it. But he's not. At times, he's not doing it very well, and that's part of the reason he probably isn't playing today.
It could be.